Hi, this is our clinical assessment exercise with Brittany Leflore, Desi Copeland, Elise Dilaura, Jasmine Smith, and Joshua Griffith. And we're from the School of Social Work at Wayne State University. So we have our case description. Max is a 16-year-old Black male diagnosed with attention deficit disorder at age 11. He was born and raised in Detroit, and his faith is Christianity. He attends worship services and was involved with his church until he moved outside of walking distance from his church. Max's past church members would transport him to services weekly, but they stopped several years ago. Max has one sibling, a younger sister named Tasha, who is on the autism spectrum. Max has never met his biological father, but his mother told Max his father tried to kill him when he was a baby. There is no evidence correlating to Max's story, but Max states that he does not believe his mother. His mother, 44, Tasha Jones, is raising Max and his sister. Max conducted his intake at the homeless and runaway shelter and completed 3 weeks allowed stay for displaced youth who have run away from home, and decided to apply for a 2-year program and remain at the facility until 18. Max was accepted in the program and assigned a case manager. To stay at the program, Max must remain in school and complete weekly choirs and on-site therapy twice a week, and meet with the case manager for 2 hours per week. During meetings with Max, they would discuss school and other issues concerning Max within the facility. Max was very clear about his decision not to live with his mother. Max stated that his mother verbally and physically abused him. Max noted that he feels his mother takes all her anger out on him because of his autism. Max's mother works 50 or more hours weekly at the Chrysler facility to support him and his sister. Max's mother denied the abuse allegations by Max after CPS investigated the allegations. They found no reason to suspect the mother of abuse. The CPS case was closed and Max remained at the facility. Max has been put on several disciplinary restrictions because of his outbursts and flirtatious attitude towards the opposite sex within the youth facility. He seems to like school and his grades are not failing but could be improved. Max is a gifted artist and loves to draw animated cartoons. Most of the time, Max does very well in the group home. As he explains, Max has been triggered by several of the children within the facility and at school, making Max lash out in anger. Max has broken several items around the facility and has been into fights at school that he states were racially charged. Max has been doing well in the program, but unfortunately the program ran out of funding. I worked with Max in transition to the Job Corps, but Max's age, mental health diagnosis, and Job Corps could not accept Max into the Job Corps program. Max has to go back home with his mother and finish school. Max said he would not run away and saw things more straightforwardly than he did upon entering the program. Max continues weekly counseling, and he has a mentor from our facility who visits him weekly. Max's mother states that Max has been working and feels that he is hanging out with the wrong crowd of youth occupying a vacated home several houses up the street from Max's residence. Max continues to take his prescribed medication, but refuses to take an at-home drug test administered by his mother. Max is not staying home for several nights. When Max's mother calls the police, he usually comes back home. Max's mother is very concerned for his safety, and she feels he cannot interpret his environment due to his cognitive, psychological, and emotional functioning. Max will listen to professionals, but does not like to be around his mother. Max states that he cannot wait until his mother is not an authority figure in his life. Oops, sorry. And she has no other additional family members to help with Max or his sister. So next up brings us to a genogram. So this genogram is looking at the family described within the case study, which involves Max, his mother, his sister, and his father. So in the bottom left-hand corner, that is Max. So you can see on the inside of the square is his age, which is 16. On the outside of the square is his birth year. Squares indicate males and circles indicate females. So next to him is his sister, age 14. She was fictitiously made 14, but just for example, and then her birth year then would be 08. Up in the left-hand corner is his father. Again, we don't know the age of his father, but just for example purposes, let's say he's 45, so he's born in 79. And on the right-hand side is Max's mother. And we know that she is 44 years old, and so she was born in 1978. The blue line between Max's father on the upper left-hand side and his mother on the upper right-hand side, it indicates cohabitation and then separation. We're not actually sure if they were actually married, but we know at some point that they were together. The red arrow going from Max in the lower left-hand corner to his mom in the upper right-hand corner is a sign of hostility within the relationship between him and his mother, which is described in the case study.
So we're going to move on to the role play. In the role play, it describes everyone's character and it has everyone's name next to it. So the clinician was Desi Coleman. Then the client Max was played by Josh, and Tasha, the mother, was played by Brittany, and the case manager was played by myself, Jasmine, and the teacher was played by Elise. So we are not able to do the role play session portion of this assignment. And so we're going to substitute that by using the role play that we use for the clinical assessment exercise, and it's going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel. The next part we have is the approach to assessment. And we actually use the manual from the agency. It talks about using the SPDAT and providing and helping to guide the support. That was by focusing attention on those areas of the SPDAT where the client has higher, sorry, I can't really see it, where the client has higher acuity, has been successful in helping clients working through the stages of change. As far as noting discrepancies, that's when it comes to, with many client, you will gather information or observe behaviors that may be contradictory to their self-assessment. This can be a positive thing in the case management process in working towards change. Do not shy away from being transparent in your assessment, noting the discrepancies whenever they appear. And components of the SPDAT is divided into 15 components, 20 for families using the SPDAT. Each component has a description that categorizes the scoring relative to each component. These components are further organized into 4 domains or thematic groups that link components together.
Okay, next we're going to go into the analysis. So the service prioritization decision assistant tool, the SPDAT, is a widely popular assessment tool that serves many purposes. In the case of Max, it was to prioritize and assess the intensity of the needs of Max in terms of the housing assistance intervention offered by the program. There are 15 total components in the SPDAT that are measured and are broken up into 4 categories. The first category is wellness, consists of mental health / wellness and cognitive function, physical health, wellness, medication, substance use, and experience of abuse and trauma. The category and its components take a look at the comprehensive well-being of the individual, in the case, Max, to determine their state of mind, how they view themselves, and allows an insight on the individual's day-to-day life. The second category is risk, which measures the risk of harm to self or to others, involvement in high risk and or exploitative situations, interaction with emergency services, and legal managing tendency. Needing all of this information is important to determine the severity of the situation. When this is established, then the allocation of needs can be better dispersed. This is also important for the agency in terms of identifying any type of liabilities. The third category, socialization and daily functioning, has personal administration and money management, social relationships and networks, self-care and daily living skills, and meaningful daily activities. This information is important because it allows the clinician to gain an insight in the client's daily life and build the foundation for established rapport. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me make sure I got all of them. Sorry. The last category is history of homelessness and housing, in which the only component is that of the same name. This information is important because it helps the clinician gain an insight on the client's view on homelessness and gives the clinician a better idea on how the individual will behave within the facility.
Effectiveness, reliability, and validity. On the manual, it states that the tool has been around since 2010, but was reviewed in over a decade prior. It is also used in over 1,000 communities within the US, Canada, and Australia. According to an article done by Homeless Hub in 2018, when clients were administrated the test twice, 89% produced either higher or lower scores during the second administration. The article also talked about how the test did not properly measure the term vulnerability. The article summarized the reliability and the validity to be lower and ineffective. The test is summarized as to have not aged well, and the test needs to be reviewed and updated in order to remain reliable and valid. Lastly, we have the reference page, and that concludes our presentation.